Well, hi everyone. My name is Scott Annan, and I am a math professor at Cal State Fullerton. And during the fall 2025 semester, I'm going to be teaching one of my favorite subjects, which is combinatorics. This is Math 471 in the math department at Cal State Fullerton, and it's a class all about looking at discrete objects and how to arrange them and how many ways there are to do that. And there's a whole sizable collection of topics, applications, and theory that goes behind the scenes of this topic. It's going to be a really fun semester. I've taught the class many times. I really enjoy doing it. We'll spend the first part of the semester discussing basic counting strategies in order to count how many arrangements there are of objects, perhaps given certain constraints. We'll learn some of the tricks of the trade, some of the tools we can use to solve those counting problems in the first half of the semester. The second part of the semester will be largely devoted to graph theory, which, as you can imagine, has tremendous applications to everything from plumbing and highway systems that are being built to computer networks and many other things as well, in addition to just the pure enjoyment of it as a mathematical subject. So I think it's going to be a really fun semester. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you and to teaching this class. What I'd like to do in this video is take just a few minutes to go over sort of the workings of the class, kind of the logistical things. How is it going to run? We'll take a look at the syllabus and kind of the timeline and give you an idea about how you should expect to interact with this course. I will be using the Canvas learning management system. This is the place where we will have an online repository of everything related to this class. You'll be able to submit homework assignments there. You'll be able to look up solutions to those assignments in Canvas. You'll be able to access documentation or resources, practice exams, and so on. A whole bunch of things that you'll be able to access. So what I'm going to do is take a moment and share my screen so that you can see the Canvas learning management system in front of you here. So you should be now looking at the home screen of our Canvas page for Math 471. And there's a number of things that we could click on here on the left side. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually open up the syllabus because, as I said, I'd like to spend most of this video kind of just going over the logistics of the class and how everything is going to run for this semester. So you can see here that I have the syllabus up. It's got my name. It's got the class information here at the top. I do have a Zoom classroom. Now, for the most part, we will be meeting in person for this class in McCarthy Hall 476 on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 o'clock until 5:15. But on some occasion, if I am not able to be physically in class, it might be possible for us to meet in Zoom. In addition, if you have an emergency that you cannot attend the class, just so you know, I am going to be recording the class lectures and posting them here in Canvas as well. So you won't completely miss the class if you aren't there. However, of course, this is not to be taken as an invitation to just skip class or to just attend it virtually for the entire semester. For an emergency situation, I can totally understand that. However, for the students who expect and want to do well in this class, it really is important, I think, to be there in person, to be able to fully engage with myself and with classmates without a lot of other distractions. So even though I do have a Zoom classroom here, the plan should be to use it as lightly as possible. I also have a Zoom office. Now this you may get a little more use out of because whenever I'm having office hours, I will always do them both in person and in Zoom. So simultaneously, I'll be physically at my office, but I'll also be logged in to my Zoom account. And you can see that I have a lot of official scheduled office hours here, especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we actually will be on campus for class. But sometimes on the weekends, especially Sundays and Mondays, I like to sort of get myself grounded for the week ahead and prepared for the week ahead. And it tends to be better on the weekends. And so on Sunday nights and Monday nights, I have found these hours to be kind of useful to have. I'm not going to promise to be there every single Sunday and Monday. I will be letting you know each and every week whether I'm going to be there on Sunday night and or on Monday night. In fact, as you can see, I've got my email address here. I will be emailing you guys each week with kind of a preview of the week ahead. In that preview, I'll talk about if there's any changes in my office hours or what to expect as far as my availability goes. But just to give you kind of a heads up about what you should expect and what you should be getting ready for. The book that we're going to use for this class is called Introductory Combinatorics. It's by the author whose name is Brualdi. That's his last name. And we do need the 5th edition of this book. So let me just see here if I can find a way. Sorry, I'm going to see if I can pull up. I don't know if I can actually, because I've got a lot of things in the way. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is kind of what the front cover of the book looks like. This one happens to be, I think I found it online for sale for like $27 or something. So I don't really care how you get a copy of the book, but you will need to have a copy of this book for the class. I have several copies of it at my physical office. So if you don't feel like lugging your book to school, but you know you're going to want to work on homework from the book or do some studying out of the book while you're on campus, you're always welcome to stop by my office and borrow a copy of my book. I do have that. I will let you guys read the course description here. Hopefully you've all taken something like Math 302 or 307, or at least a proof strategies class. We really don't need the content from Math 302 or 307 very much for this class. It's kind of a standalone set of topics that we're going to be looking at. But there's a certain amount of mathematical maturity, of course, that is good to have because this is, after all, a theoretical upper division math class. So I will be asking you to write proofs. We will be expected to communicate and explain ideas. Most of these problems are not writing down numerical answers that are calculated without a whole lot of thought. For the most part, this is going to involve a little bit higher level thinking. I've got some learning goals for the class. I'll let you guys take a look at those and read a little bit about what we're going to actually be covering chapter by chapter. Incidentally, we are going to start with chapter 3, which is about the pigeonhole principle. And we're going to spend about just the first week or so on that. So for anybody who wants to get an early start looking at Brualdi's book, chapter 3 would be the place to go. The grading for the class, there will be a lot of homework and not so many quizzes, but maybe occasionally a quiz. Together, the homeworks and quizzes will be about 15% of your grade. Just enough that you really do want to make sure you're turning in all of the assignments. Not to mention that you really need to do the homework to be well prepared for the exams. As you can see, we will have 2 midterms and a final as well. I will take whichever of those 4 parts of your grade, whether it be the homework, whether it be one of those midterms or the final. I will take those 4 parts of your grade and I will give an extra 10% weight to whichever of those 4 parts you performed the best on. So this will be something that you won't see right away as you're looking at your grades in Canvas. But at the end of the semester, you can kind of count on getting a little bump that's based on this extra 10% weight, which is going to help raise your overall, I guess, weighted average for the class. Okay. As you probably know, in Canvas, you can keep track of your grades. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And so it'll tell you kind of how you're doing. But it's not going to have this extra 10% weight figured into it because, of course, we don't know which part of your grade, which component of your grade will be the highest until we're really all said and done with everything. I also will reserve the right to bump another 2 to 3%. This one could be up or down, depending on your what I call qualitative performance. And I have that in the syllabus as well, but just I'll explain it now. Qualitative performance is just sort of things you can't measure with a number. So things like good attitude, maybe improvement over the course of the semester, uh, participation, coming to office hours if and when needed. Obviously, attendance is a part of that. Just your overall sort of work ethic and attitude towards the class can really make a difference in sort of how you are performing in the class. And so I really like to reward people who come into this with a good attitude and are really ready to work hard. Okay, I do have a grading scale here. I will be using this scale. I will not edit or change this scale. If I need to quote unquote curve any grades, I will do that numerically with respect to the homeworks or the exams or whatever. Um, I'll make edits with respect to those scores, but I will still lay them up against this grading scale. So this is the grading scale that I will use. You can see that I do use plus and minus grading as well, and that it's a little bit more of a generous scale than maybe what you're used to, because I allow A minuses, for example, to drop all the way down to 87.5%, a B minus all the way down to 75%, and so on. Okay, as I mentioned, we're going to have two midterms and a final. Here are the dates for those exams. Notice that the final is at a slightly different time, but as you would expect, these are just going to be held during class. The midterms, you'll have the entire class period of those days to take these exams. We don't have one until October 7th. That'll be the first midterm. The second midterm will be right before the Thanksgiving break. And then roughly a month later, we have our final exam. These exams will be closed books, closed notes, closed calculators. And so just bear that in mind and make sure that you get these dates put into your calendar now so you know when you're going to need to be able to focus on getting prepared for these exams. I'm going to have a number of resources to help you get ready for these exams so you're not shocked by what you see. You have some idea, what kind of questions I might ask. I'm going to share sample exams and resources with you, and you're going to want to set aside some time in the days leading up to these midterms in order to be able to look at that stuff. Attendance policy, I don't really take attendance. I might do that at the beginning of the semester just to try to learn names a little bit and also just to make sure there's nobody taking up a spot that somebody is trying to get into the class or something like that. But other than that, I don't really take attendance, but I do notice when people are gone, and it over time can build up and make an impression on me that you really do need to be in class. I don't expect I have to tell anybody that who's taking a class at this level. Adding and dropping the class by Tuesday, September 9th, which is at the beginning of the third week of the semester, you need to make sure you're added to this class. It will be very difficult to add you after September 9th. And similarly, if you want to get out of this class without having any kind of a record on your transcript that you ever were here, September 9th is your deadline to do that as well. If you drop after September 9th, it is still possible, but at that point you will be getting a W on your transcript as opposed to just having it completely wiped off of the transcript completely. So keep that in mind. I mentioned there will be a fair bit of homework throughout the semester. Whatever date those homework assignments are due, it'll always be due at 11:59 p.m. Quite often we'll have due dates that are on Tuesdays or Thursdays because that's when we have classes. And so you'll have time after class, of course, to come to my office hours or to collaborate with your friends who are all on campus for class as well. So I like to give people that time after class to continue working on the homework as late into the evening as you need to. When you're ready to submit your assignment, you'll be able to do that through Canvas, but I want just one attachment. And I want all the pages in the correct order, as neat as possible. Make the grading of your paper as easy for me as you can by being as organized and as neat as possible. You don't have to type up your homework solutions. Some students may prefer to do that. But even if you handwrite the assignment, it's okay. But please try to write neatly. leave space between problems, stuff like that. And be sure to submit just one single file. Also, if you happen to submit your homework into Canvas and then you realize before the deadline that you made some kind of a mistake or you want to polish something up a little bit better, you certainly can do that. You can overwrite a submission that you've already made with a new submission. So I don't mind that. What I don't want is just a bunch of different attachments that I have to click on. So that's why I'm asking for one single file. Quizzes, I will give those just occasionally if I feel like it's a good chance to see where we're at with understanding certain topics and whatnot. They won't affect your grade very much, but they might give you a little bit of inspiration to study a bit, kind of help you reflect on the material, and that hopefully will just make the studying for the midterms that will come later just that much easier. Okay, I've talked about most of the rest of this. Academic integrity, you guys probably have heard about all this and have seen this before. Just let me reiterate that whatever you're submitting in your homework needs to be work that you yourself understand and have expressed in your own words. Now, that doesn't mean you can't work with anybody else on homework. You can come talk to me. I'm always excited to talk about the problems and give hints. You can work with your classmates collectively. No problem whatsoever. The main thing is just make sure that you are submitting stuff that you actually understand, that you could explain if somebody asked you to, and that it really is your own writing out of the ideas, and that you're writing out stuff that you don't understand, that you do understand. So don't go to some other professor and just get them to do the work for you. Don't just copy something down that you read somewhere. You know, there should be a a contribution that you're making. If you're working with a group, that's fine, but just make sure that you're not just like mindlessly submitting something that you obtained without really understanding it. Okay, so I go in a bit more detail here. Of course, online you'll find all kinds of solutions to all sorts of problems. But again, if you really want to learn the material, you need to just be willing to wrestle with this stuff. It's actually better for you in the long run, even though there might be a little bit of extra effort and pain involved in the initial front side of things. On the back side of things, it will benefit you tremendously for having gone through that little bit more effort to develop your mastery of combinatorics. Okay. Most of the rest of this I'll let you read. It's kind of common sense stuff about emergencies. There's also some stuff about, well, some more stuff, university policies on academic integrity, DSS services, if that's applicable to any of you. You can get some more of that information. I put a link here that'll take you to one of the university's websites where you can look up more things. But of course, if there's something that you don't see here in the syllabus that I haven't addressed, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Finally, I am going to drop your two lowest either homework or quiz or one of each grades if you stop by and introduce yourself to me by the middle of September. So you can do this in Zoom or in person. It will only take about 5 minutes. The purpose of this is to help me learn names a little bit faster. I learn names more quickly when I'm seeing people sort of one-on-one or two-on-one. But if you would just stop by either my Zoom office or my physical office for 5 minutes, it helps me learn your names. And I also want to get to know you. I'd like to get to know a little bit about who I'm working with this semester, and what your goals are, what your professional plans are, what you like to do for fun, all that kind of stuff. So I highly encourage you to do this. This is the easiest thing you can do to help your grade. Let's say 2 months from now, something happens, you just cannot get an assignment done. Well, as long as you came by for 5 minutes to introduce yourself, I'll drop that lowest assignment and it won't even affect your grade at all. So anyway, so that is the syllabus. And I'll go ahead and close that now. Of course, it's here on the homepage. You can refer back to it as much as you need to. Right below it, I have another document, which is the schedule and timeline. So you can kind of see, and this is just a rough timeline, but you can see the important dates listed here, as well as sort of a 15-week schedule of kind of what some of the topics will be. Don't freak out if I'm a little bit off from what it says for what date I'm supposed to be covering what topic. That could happen, but I always manage somehow to get everything done from the syllabus by the end of the semester. Sometimes I may ask you to watch a video outside of class. This might be something that I just don't want to take the class time for, or that I just think would be helpful for you to be able to go really slowly through it and pause it and take some notes on it. Um, so don't be surprised if there might be little assignments like that from time to time as well. And in fact, I'm going to talk about one of those here in just a minute. Anyway, so that's our timeline, as you can see. So I mentioned earlier that you can find your grades here on the left side. You can click on that and look at how your grades are. And if you see any mistakes in the grading, by all means, you should definitely bring that to my attention. In the announcements section, I won't use this very often. I'll usually just send you a weekly email, but I do have a welcome email here that I would encourage you to look at. It's just a quick little one pager that you can read, just kind of welcoming you to the class, and also talking a little bit about how we're going to get the semester started. So as it turns out, I am not going to be in California for the first week of the semester. So we are not going to have class meetings at all during the first week. I talk a little bit about what that's going to mean in terms of what you're expected to do during that first week and how to get a hold of me during the first week and things like that. So that's in this welcome email. But I'll basically tell you what it is. If you look in the assignments section of Canvas, you'll see that I've already published a few of the first assignments for the semester. And the very first one, which is going to be due kind of at the end of the first week of the semester, is what I'm calling an August video assignment. And it will count just like all of the subsequent assignments that are going to come later. So it'll be, usually I grade these things out of 20 points. But what you need to do for this first assignment, guys, is you need to watch this syllabus video, which you are doing right now. And then for all of the other videos, not the syllabus video, but for all of the other videos below it, video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you need to watch these videos and just take notes on them. Okay, you need to listen to these are going to be YouTube links. By the way, I have a YouTube channel. I encourage you to like it and subscribe it. And I will be sending you off to watch some of them, some of the videos that I've put up on my YouTube channel from time to time as well. So you can see like there's a 24-minute video where I sort of introduce combinatorics. Then we get into more of the hardcore math itself. I mentioned we would be starting with chapter 3. Well, that's about the pigeonhole principle. So I've got a video for you about that. Anyway, so if you look at all of these videos together, it's going to take you, not quite 3 hours probably to watch all of these videos. So it'll be fairly close to what would be the normal amount of class time that you would have for 1 week. So you're going to need to watch this video and then submit it by August 29th into Canvas. Most of our assignments, though, later on, if we go back to the list of assignments, most of these other assignments that we will have, they will just be problems from the textbook. So you'll just be doing them out of the textbook. And I should point out that in the files section of our Canvas page, I do have a folder. There's a bunch of folders in here, right? One of them says homework solutions. So I will be publishing the solutions to the homeworks after you have submitted them, after the deadline, so you can check your work, look at sort of my way of explaining things or doing the problems, and then ask questions if you need to. While I got you here in the files folder, I also point out I will have resource folders for every exam. So if we go into, say, midterm 1 resources, maybe I'll just open this up. I can't remember what I have in here. I've got like sample midterms. I've got a review packet. uh, review sessions, stuff like that. So there's a bunch of stuff in these folders. I need to update this a little bit because it still has some of last year's material in it. But anyway, each of the resources folders is going to be a good thing for you to look at when you are thinking about studying for the midterms that are going to come up. Also, once we do get back to meeting in person starting in the second week, from time to time, I will have us work in groups in class. So there's a bunch of group work handouts here. These are already published. You can look at any of these anytime you want, along with the answers to these. This is not graded at all, but group works are just a chance for you guys to work with each other on combinatorics problems and try to answer and ask questions back and forth with one another rather than just listening to me the entire time. We won't do a huge amount of group works, and they will be, of course, kind of embedded into the middle of our normal class time together. But I will do it from time to time just because I think it's helpful for everyone to talk about these ideas and get kind of the engine running with respect to how to think about combinatorics problems. For whatever reason, the files section of Canvas does not let me put any videos up, but because I have a YouTube channel now, I do like to use that channel and publish videos. So in the Pages section, as it turns out, this is a place where I can do some videos. So notice I have a folder here called Class Lectures. I mentioned earlier that I will be recording the class lectures, and I'll be putting links to those lectures in this class lectures folder. So right now it's pretty much going to be empty because we haven't done anything yet. But once we start having our class meetings, you'll be noticing that I start filling in YouTube videos for those class lectures. And really the idea is that even if you never missed class, sometimes students like to go back and review something that they learned before, maybe go a little slower or pause the video and think through some things again for themselves. So I do like to post those up here. And I will also, as I mentioned, occasionally be asking you to watch some other videos. I will be trying to do review sessions for our midterms, and those will, unfortunately, those will not be during class. I will have to do those probably like over a weekend or something. And so I know not everybody's going to be able to come to my in-person review sessions, but I'm going to make videos of those too, in case you want to watch them from home. So anyway, that stuff will all be kept kind of in this part of the Canvas page. Okay, well, I have gone over most of what I think you're going to need to know about how we're going to run Math 471. In case you're interested in getting an early start, what could you do? In addition to watching this video, which you've already done, you could start looking at the August video assignment anytime now. It's not due until August 29th, but there are a couple, well, there's 6 actually videos for you to watch and take some notes on. And be sure to write down any questions that may come up while you're watching those videos. During the first week of the semester, even though we will not be meeting for class, I will be planning to have office hours. So I'll be able to help you address any of those questions once we have those office hours coming. Your first real assignment with problems to solve and turning on your thinking cap will be due on September 4th, which is during the second week of the semester. So there won't really be anything during the first week other than just watching all of those videos. Okay, so again, you won't need to come to campus. I won't be on campus during the first week, but I'm definitely never going to be more than an email away, and I will be having Zoom office hours. So you'll get a chance to talk to me. Maybe you want to come by and introduce yourself a little early, whatever the case may be. Guys, I appreciate your time to watch the syllabus video. I hope that it makes sense for the most part. I welcome questions, of course, at any time, and really looking forward to getting to know you and to exploring combinatorics together with all of you. It is a wonderful subject. It's one of my favorite topics in all of math, and it's going to be great. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch the video, guys, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye for now.